Today we are going to look into the another episode of Daily Public Administration. We will go through an important article which was in newspaper in relation to the recent president election. And what we are going to do is we are going to understand and analyze what the topic is being discussed in the newspaper and also its relevance in the public administration paper 2. So we will look into the daily news article. We will identify the key points and we will also focus on the relevance in public administration syllabus and how to apply these points in your answers. Or the previous, we will also go through the previous year questions as well. The article that we are going to focus is what India's presidents have brought to the table. And this is an article in Hindustan Times. The link will be shared in your description. And in this article, we are going to discuss how, or the author is going to discuss how the role of president is affecting the Indian political system, or what are the conditions of Indian president, or what are the different ideas and suggestions made by different presidents, other thinkers, etc. in relation to president, whether he or she is a rubber stamp or not. We will discuss in detail. The first thing we need to understand is that the relevance of this topic in your syllabus, that is union government and administration, especially the executive part, the president part is related to this topic, that is how the executive or the president is working in the Indian political scenario. This is in paper 2. Remember, union government and administration, executive, especially president. The key points that you should be understanding is that the president's role is largely ceremonial, but they can act independently on occasion. That is, for example, during the period of K.R. Narayanan and R. Venkatraman, we can see the ideas of president being independent in nature or acting independent in nature. Especially, we will start with the, or specifically we will start with the idea of articles, that is Article 53 of Indian Constitution vest all the executive powers of union in the office of president, and similarly Article 74 of the Constitution says that the power can only be exercised only on the aid and advice of Council of Ministers. Two articles, remember two articles, that is Article 53 and Article 74. Remember these two articles, these are very important. And next idea is that primarily, even though Article 53 and Article 74 should be read together, it says that the resident remains a nominal head of the government. We are following the parliamentary system and we believe that the president plays a nominal role in the government. Even though he is the head of the government, he is nominal in nature. And next one is there are two significant occasions. That is, there are two significant occasions when president can act independently, or it is known as situational discretion. Remember, president has situational discretion alone. At the same time, governor has situational and constitutional discretion. And the two independent conditions were, first, after a national election, that is the ruling party has lost its majority and president can decide whom to invite for to form a government, And next one is if a sitting prime minister asks for an early dissolution of parliament to force a snap election, or the president may risk controversy either by refusing or by agreeing when that appears to many onlookers to be unjustified. That is two different conditions. That is after the national election and also when prime minister asks to dissolve a Lok Sabha. And each of these two types of independent presidential action has caused several heated discussions during the period of 1979. For example, the first one, Neelam Sanjeeva Reddy provoked a storm of criticism by Samani, challenging to form a government when other candidates appear more plausible. And similarly, the Reddy stoked further outrage by accepting Charan Singh's request for a dissolution of parliament, even though the latter appeared to lack the authority to ask because he had failed to muster a Lok Sabha majority. Remember this thing. And in exception to this incident, these are examples. After that, 10 years later, in 1989, Due to the prevalence of one party dominance, president had single discretionary role to play. That is very little discretionary role to play because of the one party dominance of president. Next idea is since 1989 we can say there is a change from, that is our second democratic upsurge. After the second democratic upsurge we can say that coalition era of president had chance to act more assertively. That is, as the coalition era began, the president can act assertively and independently. For example, the K.R. Narayanan of 1990 during the period of 1997, 1988, etc. He questioned the request for imposition of president's rule in Uttar Pradesh, and also in 1998 he asked Atal Bihari Vajpayee government to prove that it had a Lok Sabha majority in 1999. And similarly, we can identify the most important thing is letter of support developed by K.R. Narayanan in relation to the majority party or proving the majority. That is also very important in relation to the ideas of Indian polity. That is, the president being an independent office rather than a rubber stamp or a nominal head of the state. Similarly, we can say that the Rajiv Gandhi government, during the Rajiv Gandhi government, that is President Venkatraman, R. Venkatraman has passed. He believed that by empowering the state and central governments to intercept, detain, or dispose any of the items in the post that were seen to endanger national security will compromise fundamental freedom. That is, the Venkatraman mentioned that these ideas mentioned by Rajiv Gandhi governments may affect the fundamental freedom. So he used the pocket veto, and finally it got disposed after the Rajiv Gandhi era. And similarly, Sail Singh also withheld assent from the bill without sending it back to the ministers. Sail Singh also taken certain idea related to the bill. And finally, in 1989 national election, Venkatraman quietly continued to take no action until the 1989 national election brought in a non-Congress government which allowed the bill to lapse. That is also another idea. That is the postal bill of 1989 and 1990. Remember that Venkatraman took a pocket veto. And next one is the president may also exercise informal powers. For example, if they disagree with formal advice from ministers to assent to a bill, they can choose to take no action, neither giving assent nor referring a bill back to the ministers for further advice, which would compel assent. So the bill is shelved. This is known as pocket veto. Pocket veto is one of the powerful tools used by president to take an independent stand on the Indian polity. And similarly, Venkatraman used this to protect the ideals of constitution. That is, a full-scale constitutional crisis certainly arises if a president went even further by refusing to give assent after ministers have reiterated their advice, and that has never happened and remains highly unlikely, either to take decision or not to take any decision at all. This is the current condition right now. Venkatraman has used the pocket veto to protect the individual freedoms against the postal bill. And next comes the present scenario, that is, remember the CIVILS, the ideas of CIVILS and also L.M. Singhvi. That is, CIVILS has pointed out in his 4 arguments on the position of president, neither too powerful to turn into an autocrat as Alan Gladel has argued. Alan Gladel mentioned that the president can become an autocrat. CIVILS mentioned that he is not neither too powerful to become an autocrat. At the same time, L.M. Singhvi pointed out that the president has real roles and powers to play to protect the constitutional values to ensure political stability in the coalition era. These 3 ideas of thinkers, CIVILS, Alan Gladel and L.M. Singhvi, should be remembered. CIVILS mentioned that there is no powerful, he is not powerful enough to become an autocrat. Alan Gladel mentioned that there is a chance for he becoming a autocrat, and also L.M. Singhvi pointed out that the real roles and powers of president comes into play when there is a coalition system. And where to apply these ideas. That is, the veto, there was question in 2005, 10, 12, etc. And in the recent past also there was questions. That is, veto power of the Indian president is a combination of absolute, suspensive and pocket veto. Whenever there is a direct question, you can use this idea. And also, in an era of hung parliaments of the parliaments, the power of president expands more so when the incumbent decides to be assertive. This is also a situation where you can use the ideas of K.R. Narayan, Venkatraman, etc. in identifying the ideas of constitution, how the office of president protects the constitution. And finally, there is another question. In the exercise of his or her functions, the president of India is a mere convenient working hypothesis. That is, whether he is a nominal head or not. That is the question being asked here. That can also be utilized in your answer. This idea should be utilized in your answer. Try to give maximum ideas while you answer the questions in relation to public administration, especially in the paper 2. Take these stands, take the ideas, take whatever you need, take the contents and write your answers very well. If you have any doubts, please contact us back. Thank you very much.